What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Times.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So Shannon is back. You'll see his face in the circle of the thumbnails for the week. He's already on the wrapper, right? So like if you tune in, you've seen that we changed our thumbnails up and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that more about it on Friday. But happy to see you back. It was awesome to have Chris on for the 2 weeks. So definitely check those out if you have not already. Our shows are timeless, right? You don't have to watch them just because let's just say you don't have to skip them just because you have not watched them, right? It's not they're time stamped. That doesn't mean that you can't watch them anytime you want to. We have over 424 episodes, not including this week, so probably like 428. So definitely go back and watch all of them. Start at number 1 and roll through. Get that view count up. But definitely want to jump into the discussion, but I just want to put out there Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday's discussion. Thursday, I have Sam Brown on. We talk about his company. We talk about him as a mentor, a public speaker, and all that goodness, how you can find employment regardless if you're trying to get in this sector or not. So check that out. And then Friday, everything else. So we'll definitely go into Shannon's vacation, me and my daughter in driver lessons, the thumbnails, all the above. We'll talk about all the things. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article is from Politico.com. And it's titled, "For U.S. Officials, the world's largest hacking conference isn't all fun and games," right? So DEF CON out in Vegas, right? The hacking conference. Real risks with this, right? So they in this article, what they talk about and what we want to discuss is they talk about the leadership when it comes to cybersecurity, right? For the U.S. Making the track out to DEF CON, right? So here's what I think about this, right? Like just to have the discussion. Is it worth the risk, right, for people that are in the highest levels of our cybersecurity echelon to make this track out there, right? So they go into this article, they start talking about different things, right? Like your wall of sheep that they do, the people that have attended, different things they've done in the past. And it's like, if you're going to have the director of CISA there, right? Like if you're going to have all these people, like I said, at the higher echelons going to DEF CON, what is it worth and what is the gain for them going out there, right? So DEF CON, like I know of DEF CON, but I didn't know it's been around for as long as it is. So like this is actually the 30th year that they've been doing DEF CON. The first convention was in 1993, and I was like, wow, it's been a while. Like I remember hearing about it, kind of early in my communications career, but I didn't think it was something that had been around for 30 years. So it has some lasting to it, right? So, but this is where you have people that are just like they're kind of at the top of their game, right? Like with what they're doing, and they've done some different things in the past where they've demonstrated some things that have been kind of impressive, right? Like ATMs spewing out money, insulin pumps, which is a medical thing, right? And this is why it's so important, because we've talked about this on the show before, right? Like when it comes to hacking, when it comes to like hospitals and things of that nature, right? The water treatment plants, things of that nature. They're demonstrating these things at DEF CON, showing, hey, here's how we can make this happen, right? Like, and if it's somebody's insulin pump, which is something that they've done before, that's a medical thing. Like that can kill you, right? Whether or not you don't get it in time or they give you too much, right? So someone who's not exactly doing things for the right reasons, right? Because DEF CON, you got to assume not everybody here is a white hat, right? Like you got some black hats, maybe some grays, right?
Not all of them, all blue teamers.
No, not at all. Not at all, right? Like there are some people that are there just to, they could just be collecting information, right? And so they give some things in the article where they talk about, if you go, turn off your Wi-Fi, turn off your Bluetooth. If it was me, I wouldn't bring any device at all, right? That's just my thing, right? Like abstinence is the only way you don't get pregnant. Like this is the way you don't get hacked. You know what I mean? Like so like I don't know. Just some of the stuff they talk about here. Like and here's the thing. I do kind of see the benefit of these government officials going to this convention, right? But they even get a brief before they go. They tell them, hey, do these things before you go, right? But at DEF CON, it's one of those things where something new will show up every year. Something new will show up every year. So even though you get a briefing says don't do this, don't do that, don't do the third, you may show up and be the victim of, whatever the next newest thing is, right? Like they may have a way that they can hack your phone if you leave it in, like, because if you're staying in I can't remember what casino it is, it's Caesars or Bellagio or whatever it is, it's one of the major ones where they hold the convention. Um and and so, like, for this 3 days that you're there, they may have it to where if you're staying in that hotel, oh, we can do it now to where we can hack. We have a tool where we can do it up to 1,000 feet away now, or something along those lines. You know what I mean? That
Right,
you
right.
know,
Like how they're hacking into air gap systems.
right. You know what I mean? So, like, and like when you read these things, you're just like, man, like technology, it is what it is, right? Like, so, and even with these government officials that head to this conference, they tell them to treat it like going to China. You know what I mean? And you know how careful the government is when we're going to China or Russia or one of these adversaries we have. That's one of the big ones. You know what I mean? They say treat it like you're going to China, which is like pretty serious. You know what I mean? But DEF CON 3 day event, 30,000 people, I think they said it. Yeah, yeah, three
Yes,
days,
it's
30,000.
humongous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think it was that big. Like, I figured maybe 10 at the most, like 10,000 people, but 30,000 people they're saying is who attend this. But the fact that they have, people that are in government that are going to this may be a good thing, right? Like, this could be a recruitment effort as well, right? So it could be a chance for them to get out there and kind of disprove some rumors, right? Like, because you have some of these people that are into like hacking and things of that nature. They're just like, the government is all bad for you, right? Well, they can give their point of view, like, no, we're not all bad. This is what we're trying to do. Let us get our story out to some of these people that may need some legitimate employment. I'll say that, right?
Yeah.
So, but what's your thoughts on this, Ryan?
I'm mostly pro on it. I think it's good that the event has the longevity it has, right? I have no idea what year one looked like. Was it a bunch of like RDP and uh, paint hacks? I don't know, but now it's very sophisticated, right? Um, I think it's awesome that they have the panels that they have, right? You get to hear from the horse's mouth when it comes to red teaming, blue teaming, purple. Like you have all these things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to have access to, right? Like, so some panels are not recorded. So like you attend, you might be talking to one of the most elite hackers in your whatever particular pocket of hacking or whatever. Like you have people from script kiddies all the way up to, um, the top of their craft there discussing what they do, how they do it, and you get to have exposure to things you may not even know were problems, right? So like all the big companies show up, the government shows up. Again, people who are all sides of the fence of hacking show up to make up that $30,000 people pool. And I think it's absolutely necessary, and I'm glad to see the government actually shows up. I'm glad to see they have a brief before they go. Uh, but then I have my own insecurities, right? Like I may attend one of these days, but I'm bringing a burner with me. Like I need access to be able to call 911, but it will not be mine. It will have no affiliation with me because that's just not my wheelhouse, right? I'm not a hacker or a would-be hacker. I'm a network guy who made the pivot from network security into GRC, so that I would be fair game out there. So that does make me hesitant to be around. But you have to think, what if you are there on vacation and now you have 30,000 of these people in the immediate area? Like it has to be ridiculous. Like the evil twins out the yin yang, like people like I you would hope that when these conventions come to town that the hosts as well as the hotels have NDAs and rules and like, hey, listen, don't hack our network, don't attack uh our other population that's here, right? Like if people who are just so happen to be taking their vacation when DEF CON shows up, that has to suck. So hopefully there's some parameters, but again, people like to have the title hacker, you might not necessarily care that you signed something, right? You might still attack the general populace to just keep practicing your craft. Like it's a bunch of Mr. Robots out there, to be honest. So that part is a little bit scary, but I think it's a necessary evil. And I'm glad that it's still rolling. I'm glad that the government is so involved in it because, like you said, they're picking up talent, or at least they're collecting information themselves, right? Like they're seeing what's out there, what could be done. But then I'm sure they're what is it called? Shaking and grinning, gripping and grinning, right? Like shaking hands, talking to people, making connections. So I'm sure all that stuff is happening. They're pulling in talent, and they're not only to potentially join our ranks in the military, but most likely consulting, right? You're picking up people who don't necessarily have either they don't want to join the military, or it's more lucrative and they know it to be a consultant to the military or the DoD in general. So like you're growing out your base, so I think it's great. I think it's a good thing. I do definitely would not want to. I would not appreciate being on the wall of sheep. That was just playing to my insecurity. See my picture up there that we got this guy. I just don't like it. I don't like that piece of it. I didn't like that in tech school either, right? And we're going through technical training and somebody would RDP into your box or something like that. I didn't like that. Stay out of my stuff. I'm not going to hack you. Don't hack me. So that's kind of the mentality I would have while I was there. But again, I wouldn't bring my smart devices that I care about, and I would probably just have a phone, a jitterbug. Remember the phone with the big buttons that they sell on QVC? So I can call my family if need be, because I'm not in that circle. I do not have the tools to protect myself from 30,000 other people who may be trying to get me. So I will play as safe as possible. But no, again, I do like to see it. I'm glad that it's still around 30 years. COVID didn't take it out, right? Because COVID killed a lot of conventions. Like you don't have your E3s anymore and things of that nature because of COVID. But you still have these mega conferences that are supporting these efforts. So I think it's awesome. I got lots of connections on LinkedIn. I have lots of pictures. They were there. I'm just like, oof. Like, but I guess they're on top of their game. So that's great. It's great to see. But with that being said, definitely continue to check us out throughout the week. So typically our discussions revolve around STEM or DE and I initiatives and things of that nature. But every now and then we like to play around with stuff like this, right? I thought, it's interesting that this uh, coincided with the week that just happened, and something we could talk about. Maybe me and Shannon will be at the next DEF CON, right? We'll take a field trip. Like, but we'd have to be around like somewhere near each other because Shannon is already radio silent when it comes to social media. So like I would have to be able to find him at some point to
And we
coordinate.
and we can't do smoke signals indoors, so we'd have to figure.
Right. I'm like, how do we doing Morse code? We got like flashlights. Like, how are
bird
we going to
bird
communicate?
bird signals like Cole and Martin. You know what I mean? Be like Outcast, hootie hoo.
Right. That's the only way. Whistles.
Yeah.
But definitely continue to check us out. So Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursday, again, I have on Sam Brown, so you can hear about his initiative and what he does and how it can help you secure employment if you're out there looking for a job on the market. And then Friday, everything else. So definitely tune in for that one. Movies, books, games, all that good stuff. So check us out. Hit up our social medias that go by our name. Give me a personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. I'm on LinkedIn, Clubhouse. I'm still calling it Twitter. We talked about it off camera, and Threads. So stay safe, stay secure.